somebody's mentioning that as you have pricing conversations with the client, they're having value conversations on the computer, and potentially as they're having this conversation, I guess they're adding different types of services to then build out the price. And then if they don't like the price, you can take back services, and they're going back and forth. Or, so that's kind of one option, is this kind of like click in, or whether it's click, or maybe you have a presentation already there and you have different services and you kind of buffet style, here's some, here's some, here's some. Or is pricing more quote unquote in your head, and then you come out with 3 options based on your past experience? This is obviously a question for both of you, where this is a very tactical one, but I think it might illustrate a greater principle of how to approach value pricing.
David, I'll take that first, I guess.
Okay.
I know there's pricing apps and software out there that allow you to load in a menu of services, and you have a discussion with the customer. They pick what they want. You click off the services they want, and it builds a price. The problem I have with that is it's task-based pricing. It's not outcome-based pricing. And I want human judgment applied to pricing. That's why we advocate a value council inside of firms. Turn pricing over, centralize it, turn it over to a group of people who are good at it, maybe even appoint a chief value officer. I know a lot of firms are solos. They say, well, I can't have a value council, I'm one guy. Well, okay, have your spouse do your pricing. The fact of the matter is we need human judgment applied to pricing, because we need to focus on pricing for an outcome, not just a series of tasks. What we mean by pricing the customer is this isn't a menu price. It's not like McDonald's, we all roll up and pay the same price for a value meal. We're customizing the prices based on the outcomes that the customer wants, right? Just like my landscaper example, the outcome I want from my landscaper is very, very different than my neighbor right next door, right? He's got the same size yard, same type of landscaping basically, but he wants a completely different thing from my landscaper because he enjoys yard work. That's what we're talking about, and that's why I always think there needs to be professional and human judgment involved in pricing. The last thing I want to do is turn it over to a computer system. A quick example, I mean, the airlines and the hotels have incredibly sophisticated computer systems to do pricing, yield management, revenue management software. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars for these programs. They do incredible algorithms and incredible analysis, but there are always humans that can override based on judgment, like we know the Olympics is in this city, or we know this is going on in this city, or the World Series is going on. The computer doesn't know that. Well, I want the same type of human judgment. So it does slow the process down, but it results in better pricing and a better professional outcome for the customer.
Perfect. Yeah, and Steve, when you're thinking about that that pricing in that way, have you seen the same thing where people might want to? I think buffet feels more fixed price. Here's a couple options, not value. Have you seen firms try to implement a mixture, or are you a proponent of one over the other, or how do you kind of approach that topic area?
Well, this question, both your previous question and this one, bring up some fantastic points, and we both, Ron and I, could probably talk for the next half an hour just on this question, really. But so one thing that so Ron's talked about the various apps that are out there, etc., that are, as he said, so task orientated instead of focused on the outcome. And the other thing that really frustrates me, that's a bit of a trend, and it seems it's a bit more of a trend in Australia and New Zealand and maybe elsewhere, and that is accounting firms having 3 packages, which obviously we endorse having 3 options, but they just have 3 packages that are set packages, put it up on their website, and some even go so far as to put the price up on their website. And they've just taken all away the total advantage that we have as a professional, which is what Ron spoke of earlier, pricing the customer. We're in a relationship business, and we need to therefore understand the customer and design those 3 options around that customer's needs and price the options accordingly. That doesn't mean that you don't have behind the scenes some set service offerings that you understand how you want to work with your customers. I'm not saying that you want to, recreate the wheel every time a new customer walks through the door, but so you're very clear, importantly, of who we want to work with. But then the second part of that question is how we want to work with them. But we must have that flexibility built within the system so that we can react to exactly those clients' particular set of needs. That the three packages we designed for them will have some similarities to other customers, that there'll be some differences that will exist as well. And then the last little point that I want to just put on this topic is that we've talked earlier about the onboarding process. And I think there's three parts of the onboarding process that actually pop up in this question. And we've talked about that, too often firms rush to start work. But we need to have, part of this is the value conversation we've talked about. But then the next part that often, I think, again, we skip over as a professional is what could be said to be the demonstration phase. So that's when we are starting to explore what the three options might be, and that we're talking about exactly that we could do this set of services, etc. And I use the word demonstration because we're starting to demonstrate the value that could be delivered. And then and only then can we move to the next phase, which is the proposal stage, or putting some prices around those packages. So I know I've given a lot in that answer to that question. I think it's a huge question, and one that firms really need to drill into, is that it all comes back to that we're in this relationship business. We've got this phenomenal opportunity to deliver value direct to a customer and understand what the value equation is for that customer and be able to customize and package it and demonstrate it to that customer.